This is gonna go really good, or it's gonna suck. I'm hoping for the good. All right, this is our 12 volts to the coil. I just cleaned those points that I put in there. I did not put new ones in because I couldn't find them. So we may or may not have spark. Shall we? Give her.
Sounds good too.
And out of gas. Hey guys, and how's it going? So I'm continuing on this Amante GT kit car based on a VW chassis with a Porsche 914 engine in the back. Last video we got the engine. There was actually two engines. Built one out of the two, and it is ready pretty much to go in. We got to do the flywheel and room rain seal on it, but the car itself had no keys, so I'm in the process of trying to chase that part down. I jumped ahead a little bit. I did gut the door, got the one key switch out of the door. There's no door handles on this. It actually uses the key to open and close the door. Took it apart. There's not much to it. It was just basic lock style. You know, it's a Home Depot special. There's no numbers on it neither, and it just had a rod that came off of it and went to the lock lever. So when you turn the key, it just popped the lock. That was it. There's no solenoids, nothing electrical. Very simple. Again, it is a kit car. And then the window assembly, which is a roll-up window, all stayed self-contained. Watch me break the glass. All stayed self-contained on the fiberglass door panel itself. So that just unscrewed and the window stays right with it. So then I had to go move forward to the ignition switch because I don't know if they're the same. I doubt they are. And it has, you would think the key would be down there. No. Had an overhead console. And I went through the trouble of unscrewing that, pulling that down. It's gonna need some love. So those are all the controls for the car. And not a single one is labeled. I guess you got to figure that out. Maybe there was something there at one time. I don't know. That was just nothing helping us. And it has an ignition switch up top. I was in the process of going to yank that down, and that just looks like it's essentially like a lawnmower switch, nothing fancy. So I'm going to go label on that what colors go to what, and we'll pull that out of there. The place where I got the car from found a bag of keys where he got the cars from. So there's a possibility that he may have them. If not, I'll probably just try to find that same switch. I don't think they're terribly expensive, and I don't think those are terribly expensive either. So actually, I think we need one. Is the one punched for the trunk? It's already missing. So we're already missing one for that anyway. And maybe just get, you know, a set of 3 that are matching, and then a new one for the top. I got that out of there. That's pretty much just a tractor ignition, nothing fancy. Even if we can't find the exact one, it already labels what they are, and I know what wires went to which. And then, judging by the corrosion on the switch, these have a tendency to have the contacts on the inside go kapooey. So we went shopping and could not find any keys in the bag of keys that he had for that ignition. But he did find a whole nother ignition that was the same setup, and we have one that has a key. So that'll take care of that part. As far as the doors are concerned, I ended up just going to the local hardware store, and I got 3 sets keyed the same, so that we have trunk and the 2 side doors, and I already got the one in the door. And now we have, other than the crap that just fell off the inside of the door. That's it. So I have the door panel off of it. It's all hollowed out. And one of the things I was noticing was the body line. I don't know if you can see it down below. The gap is really, let me get you there, sticking out. See up here, it's pretty much flush. And then as you go down the bottom of the door, that's out of, you know, a good 1/4 inch at least. So while you have the access to the bottom of the door, I see we have some hinges and some hardware. I gave them a spray. And it's got 2 sets. Looks like it has another set over here. I don't know if these are just kind of drilled straight through and there's no adjustment out of it. I'm going to try loosening them up, see if we can get that door to tweak a little while I'm in here and I have everything off. But the biggest thing was making it so at least I can open the door from the outside. Before there was nothing there. I was not sure which way to go with the lock neither. Should I have it go this way? I had it both. So I think normally when you go to unlock a door, it's counterclockwise. Kind of weird not having a handle to grab. I was able to get all of them loose except for that one because that's in the way. I could probably grab it with an Allen wrench from the back side and a wrench on the top side. But let's see if the door will even have any kind of play in it at all. Again, it may just be fixed and drilled holes with no slop in it. Didn't sound good, did it? I think what's happening over time, I think the fiberglass just kind of, just settled and rotated on itself. It really isn't much of a metal frame. We can, there's some crafts, got little guides, that one's rotted out. And I could take the striker and move the striker in more, but it's still uneven. You know, I'm hoping to try to get the arc a little bit, and then we can go in and put the striker. I think I'm going to get a big hammer and a piece of wood. I'm not giving it much success. I don't know if that light's going to stay. Let's go wedger. Let's go see if a couple of little love taps. I get that top on loose too. Whoops. You would think you'd be able to see on the bolts that they would move, right? And I think they're just drilled right through. There's no adjustment on that. Worst case, we could probably elongate those holes and get a little. And I don't know what the access is. I'm sure that's a nut and bolt setup too. That one's actually missing the top one. If we can even get behind there to do those. And they're self-centering too. They're tapered. So they're going to draw right back to the center. It's not even like you got play. We just may move on to the engine. I'm going to see if, screw with this a little bit more, bring you back if I get anywhere. If not, we're going to continue on with getting the thing to run with a key. It's a fun car to get into, especially with all the crap on the floor. Hold on, I'll get you there. I think the steering wheel needs to get a little smaller. Or the seat's got to go back a little. Alright, so we got the ignition switch in it. And I'm gonna give it a quick check of the wiring that they done. It actually looks pretty good. Everything's soldered together. Looks like it's got a common hot rail. And then to the right of that, down below, looks like a common ground that they ran across. It's like they didn't bother screwing it together, just used epoxy. This one's floating. It's broken away. And then a spare wire. Which one do you think is the ejector seat? It's kind of like a James Bond car. Well, I think we go get the starter. We'll go throw the starter back in it, and then we could put power to it and see what happens with the key. Key's kind of weird because you gotta turn it counterclockwise, which is like counterintuitive from how you would start a car. Check out the radio. An Ampex. Too bad it's like an old Pioneer Super Tuner. It's cassette. I thought it was 8-track, but it's cassette sideways. Got a tad bit of corrosion going on inside there. Bet you that little rubber band in there ain't doing very well. The seat itself is actually really comfortable. The pedals, on the other hand, well, that's the gas pedal. All right, that's the gas pedal. And then to get the clutch, let's see if you get back far enough. You kind of, wait a minute. So that's how you work in the gas. That's how you're going to be sitting kind of, it's way too far forward. Either that or I got to kick the seat back a good, maybe about 3 or 4 inches. Or if you get a little smaller steering wheel. Something's got to change here. It's going to be kind of difficult to do your thing. Yeah, especially the gas pedal. Uh-oh, something. I hit the spray. There goes that noise. All right, it's good to start it thrown in it, and we can get a battery hooked up to it and see what comes alive. So wiggle that thing in there. This one doesn't use the pilot bushing. It's a self-supported starter. Okay, get on that stud. Here we go. Look at the nut on the bottom. I think we have a hot lead there that goes to the fuse box. That's the battery. And I think that blue lead just types into the other one. The starter's hooked up. We got the sway control under here, and the strap is busted out on one side. We don't have anything for that, so we'll just take this right out of our way for now. We'll worry about if we're going to go put that on later. We should probably check these motor mounts. They're looking kind of ancient. Especially that one. Could get a pry bar underneath here. We'll kind of give a couple of tugs on it, see if they're failed. I may have a set upstairs. What else can we see? It's got an electric fuel pump. And the fuel filter. Looking, I think that's clear. I think it's supposed to be clear. And that definitely looks like it's got a little bit of mud in it, huh? You think that's painted, or? Actually, I see some kind of. I don't think that's painted. I got that too. All right, let's go do a quick check of the motor mounts, and maybe we'll put power to it first. I guess that's going to need power to that starter, huh? All right, to the fuel pump. Fuel pump has no wire to it. I see some other. There's got to be another wire for a fuel pump. That one. That's the one to crank the starter. We got to figure out where that one goes yet too. I'll let it down so we can find any more wires. Got to be more wires. I don't know if it's any of these. I think they all went to the front of the engine. We'll find it. Take that gooey bar off of there. Get that out of the way. Let's go see what we got for. Oh, it's still connected. I think most of the torque is on this one. I have seen better days. I'm gonna make a list of stuff I gotta order, because we still have to go through, brakes and everything else on this, but just trying to get ourselves an idea. Let's go while the motor's out. We'll go check the plug for the trans. We'll see if there's any gooiness still left in that too. So essentially, it looks like that, but it's on the side. It's a big old 17. And we have our little Allen wrench here. Go to get in there. That one. If anything goes to fall in your eye, just squint. You'll be fine. There we go. Holds about 3 quarts. And if you can stick your finger in and feel wetness, all right, grow up. And it's got enough fluid in it. There goes the light, and we're good. That'll do. She's wet on the inside. So we need a wire that comes from the key switch when it goes to crank to initiate the starter. I haven't found that. And then again, the other side of the electric fuel pump. Now looking around, I don't see any wiring hanging down in that area. Just a bunch of stuff tucked over here. And my guess is maybe these two. If they make it. Let's see, maybe that was the fuel pump. That may have been that one. And was this one the starter or vice versa? See if it even reaches. Yeah, it's kind of cutting it close, huh? Let's go throw a battery in it and we'll use a test light and we'll see what powers what. Could be even some of these too. But I'm pretty sure those are going to be engine related. Power to the coil and oil pressure. Are these a bunch tied off over here too? Yeah. I don't know what that is. Looks like something burned off of there. Looks like they just soldered a bunch of wires to buckets. That probably went right to there is my guess. And we got some cutoffs. We got some work ahead of us. That's alright. I'm more concerned with getting it to yard drive. There's another one that's just hanging. I think this had a plug that came from the generator. The alternator rather. I don't know if that one shows. That one under there, I think was for the power coming for the charging system. Alright, let's grab a battery in it, or at least a jumper pack. Well, the problem I'm going to run into, I'm not going to be able to be in the front of the car cranking the key and then looking at a test light. So we are just going to wing it for a sec. We're just going to go kind of tie those together. Make sure they don't rub against anything. That's not close now, is it? And we'll ground it. Either if we turn the key on, and as soon as we turn the key on, if the starter goes to fire, then we'll know we got it wrong. We'll go to crank position. It'll work to see. Uh-oh. I would say that's the wrong wire. So that is for something else. And it's not for crank. What do you think about this one? You go cut that crap off of there. And we'll try that one. And a little more. And all right. You feel safe with that? Let's go see what the key does up front. We already got an interior light on. Is that that? What turns what on and off? I don't know what does what. That one turns red. I would say that way is off. Try to keep everything in the off position for now. I don't know what works that. Let's see if the key will do anything for us. Backwards, right? Yeah, so that's the starter one. That one cranks the starter. And the other one, because the key was already on position, I have to turn it off. Alright, so that's off. That's the key removed. But that is staying lit for some reason. Is it the door switch? Oh, there you go. So if you turn that on and hit the door switches to stay on. Yeah. Alright, we know what one of them is. That's interior light. You want to go flick a bunch of switches and see what does what? Just turn them all on. So smoke comes out of it. What do they do? One of those horn maybe? I don't know. Does something because it makes the light go dim. Let's see what we got. If we got any lights. Side marker lights are on. We got two outer lights. And we got 3 out of 4 for headlights. Any of them smoking? Bet you they're gonna smoke. What they do is they lose their vacuum and they'll last about About a minute or two. And that's a little smoke going up inside them. I'm amazed that all the lights work. I don't know about directionals or anything, but let's go try those. I don't hear anything. No, nothing's happening with that. Especially all those wires disconnected in the back. I didn't think that it would function. So it's probably tail light, brake light, and then reverse lights. Let's try shoving it in reverse. I don't even know if it has a reverse light switch. 65. If the transmission's from a 65. So it's gonna be, well, it hasn't moved in a while. Towards us and down. And you pull up on the little bumper there. Nah, I didn't think so. The transmission might not even have a plug for it. Huh. No horn. High beam, low beam. This is high beam, low beam. Good luck trying to get your foot on that. It's hard enough hitting the gas pedal. I think it went in and out. Nope. Evil looking, isn't it? Got them all switched off. This one button that you push, see, something's definitely drawing a lot of current. I don't see anything on the car doing anything. No, whatever. That directional's flashing now. We have directionals? Did it take a second for it to just start firing up? I wonder if you have to put power to it with a switch. Yeah. No kidding. Side marker. Anything in the front? Yeah. Holy. That kind of surprises me. This thing has been off the road since I think it was 1977 is when it ran out. So 76 was the last sticker it got. That was 8th grade for me. Some would say my senior year. Oh, you know what? I know what it's for. There's a gas-powered heater down there, and I'm sure some of the switches must run something down in there that turn it on and off, or run fuel pump, or something along those lines. It's probably locked up, and you would hit the button. It's not, the motor's not turning. Let's try the other side. Yeah. I am really surprised. Usually that stuff's all crudted up and nothing, you know, especially with the way that ignition switch looked. It wasn't very healthy. One headlight bulb out. I'm kidding. Yeah, the bumpers are ugly. I definitely agree that those bumpers are ugly. They just do that for inspection. But it looks like it just pops off with a couple of bolts. They'll just come right off out of the way. We can get funky with that later, or just take them right off maybe. You ready? This might be interesting. Oh. Yeah. Ooh. Ooh, the smell. You gotta wait for it for a second. It'll hit you. Oh, she's a good vintage of sludge. Yeah, I think we're gonna be running that off a auxiliary tank for a little bit. I don't think that one's very healthy. So what's the deal with that? I think those are just vents. Or is that the fuel? Usually the fuel pet is dead center of it, coming up from the bottom. Actually, if it, no, it's not a fuel. It was never fuel injected. See, if it's fuel injected, it's got to come in on one side and return on another. It might be just vents. But we got to pull that tank anyway. This must be where the spare tire does fit. I see a post here. I wonder if you're able to get a spare tire down in here. It doesn't look like there's enough room though. Spare belt. Not sure what that is. access to the steering box. That's brake fluid level. I'm sure there's nothing in that. And windshield washer. And this is a heater setup. And these are like buses came with them, and like VW thing. Like it's got a coil, regular coil up there. There's probably a spark plug that just fires it, and it just fires gasoline. And it sucks air in and out as it burns it. And then this is probably fresh air or heated air going to the cab, would be my guess. I don't think we're going to worry about that at the moment, but one of those switches must run that, right? So you think the chances are that the radio does anything? I'm sure it's because you were. Alright, so that's on position. And I'm sure one of these toggle switches probably run it. Let's see if anything does anything. Volume, let's crank it. Is that up or down? Yeah, let's go hit a bunch of switches again. We'll turn them all on. A little. Well, that one lit up the tack. It's on. Just hit them all. Screw it. I don't see much of anything happening. I don't want to try shoving a cassette in there, that's for sure. Yeah, nothing on that. Might not have power going to it. Or another hidden switch somewhere. I do see some wires hanging over here. Which I would think, because right now there's no speedometer. So maybe there was one here. That one's hooked up to those, right? And that would be like the lights for the speedometer. If there's a speedometer on a VW, they use the front tire. There's a cable that runs from the center of the hub, runs up and into a speedometer. What do you think that one does? That one's telling us. It's whatever that switch is. That's headlights. That must be high beam. Yeah. I got a little better look at the pump. I said we put power right to it. That was the ground side of it, and that is the hot lead, or should be the hot lead. Let's first of all move the outlet. It's not facing our face, and that is going to be nasty if that's the case. I have a couple of jumper leads set up with some voltage. We'll give that a shot. Let's get the hot lead on probably. Then we'll touch it with the ground side of things. Can't see, can you? That makes two of us. Do we get it? Or are we touching the body? I think we got it right there. Now let's try some round. Nothing. Yeah, that pump might be. I have power going to it, but it's just locked right up. It's been sitting 40 years with goo in it. Let's try the wire. I think the wire just goes right to the body though. Yeah. Double check all my connections here. Click that on permanently. We'll wiggle that hot lead around a little. Yeah, we got there's a stud on the back side. We got nothing. Check my other end. So we're good on that side, and we are good on the ground. Yeah, so that pump's no good. It's not doing a thing. And probably they ran that bolt. I don't know if you can see it. The bolt that's up there. Two of them. I'm sure the carpet is laid underneath, And that is going to spin when we go to try to pull that down. I kind of want to access that now though, because the engine's not in and we're standing where the engine is. It does make life a little easier. So I have to go address this. Too bad you can't put a mechanical fuel pump on that style engine. I don't think you can. We can just eliminate all that. I'm going to see about trying to get that unbolted from up there and pull that down and get it right out of the car. Yeah, we didn't see that coming, did we? I don't know if it's better off maybe we run it back up if we can and knock the rust off. Like a little tiny wire wheel or something. You can't access the top of the bolt to keep it from spinning. Or we try something else. I like to refer to them as specialty tools for future, for now and for future. I have one or two of them. That should do it. Now we can spin that off of there. And when we get the pump out of the way, probably clean them up with a wire wheel so that we can spin them back on by finger. Don't you know? Yeah, I think you get the idea, right? Yeah, it's unbolted. Let's get the fuel line off. They run a metal line down the center of the frame of the VW chassis. And it comes up back here, and then that's where they tap off. No. I don't know why I'm using pliers. It just came right off. And I don't think there's much in the tank, so I wouldn't expect much to flow. Let's get this nasty pump. Actually, we gotta get the other wire off of it yet. So we can get this out of here. Yeah, I'd definitely say that fuel's a little on the vintage side. Let's try it one more time. Giving them much hope, but yeah, we got nothing. How about some gentle love taps? Figures. Probably should have tried that under the car, huh? I'm gonna go pop those hoses off, and maybe we'll see if we can stick it in a thing of fuel and let it run through, see if it'll pump some, actually do what it's supposed to do, not just make noise. Get that end right off of there. I got some kerosene in a jug. Come on. I think what we'll try to do is flow that right through. Oh my God. When your gas turns back into honey, she's a tad old. I don't know if that line's going to even be open. See if we get goo come out of it. No. Okay. We're going to go shove that in the kerosene. We'll hook it up to it and see if we can get it to flow through the pump. Yeah, see what happens. So this should be the return. You impressed? I am. I might take I might take a turkey baster and try to prime the pump, actually push some fluid down into it, see if we can get it to go. I think it might need to get wet. It's got little diaphragms on the inside of it. I'm not going to put too much effort into this. If it doesn't want to work, I would be concerned about the reliability of it, and I would not want to trust running around in a car. Just go get a new one. But we're this far, right? Might as well keep going just a little bit. Probably do that while it's on, huh? It's not gasoline, it's like kerosene. It's like it's gonna explode on us from sparks or anything. Let's go. Nope, I'm gonna take that fuel line off the other end. Possibly this line could be cog solid. Nah, it's not even taking it. Yeah, the level's right up to the top and it's not even using it. Yeah, that might be an issue, huh? I think that's a diaphragm, what's left of a diaphragm. Ooh. Yeah, I think that's supposed to be a seal of some sort. It's now a booger. Well, this pulses up and down. And there's those two check valves that were in there. One allows fuel to come in when it draws down. When the piston goes back up, it plugs that port off, and then the other one opens and it continues the path and just fires those two as the piston underneath goes up and down. But I'm having a feeling that that's not old gas. I think that is literally part of the seal that was in there. Think it comes apart any further? I'm going deeper. You always wanted to see what is inside of that pump anyway, right? You get it right out of there. Yeah. Oh, it smells so good. Just take my word for it. Yeah. Get it out. It's just like a speaker down below. It's got a coil. It gets energized. All right. We need one of those. I said next thing we should probably do is get that flywheel set up on the engine. You get it ready to drop in. I thought possibly we can get rid of these headbangers. Because yes, I've caught myself on them. Let me get them popped off out of the way and improve the look a tad. much better. You wanted those off of there as bad as I did, didn't you? I know. You can come up with something else. All right, pop the engine off the engine stand. And we're gonna work on that flywheel and rear seal. Let's get that flywheel out of our way. So that's the main seal. I should probably get a 2x4 underneath there because I see the oil levels all the way up top. I'm going to go pitch the motor back a little bit so that we're not going to lose a bunch of the oil while we're trying to change it. I got a board under it so you can get the old one out. Not in there all that tough. There you go. I'll have shims, and it's for end play. I'm just going to leave it well enough alone. You can adjust on a Beetle anyway. There should be 3 shims if it's the same setup. So you can get them out. There you go. Yeah, 3 shims, and you adjust the end play on the crank by adjusting the diameter of those shims. They come in different sizes. I don't really have much to go play with to adjust them anyway. You got to put 3 back in. I think it's so they can slide on each other. I think that's why it's 3. Not sure of that. And then the new one, very simply, just taps right in. Just go flush with the case. That's it. Pretty simple. Really don't put any oil on it because you want this area to bite. You want this to have a good, it's actually like almost like little teeth, little barbs that are on it that it kind of catches going in. You really don't want lube on that. You want lube on this side when you're putting the flywheel on, but not the other. So we're supposed to have a bearing in the center of that supports the center of the input shaft for the transmission, and we do not have it. I'm going to go look at the other motor. I think we had it just sitting out of the other flywheel. I might be able to tap it out of that flywheel and get it set in there. Also going to take a little bit of time, probably wash some of this stuff up. So those who didn't see the engine build part of this is the original, this one actually is the original flywheel that was on it, and this is the one that we're putting on it. They're 2 different heights. This one is lower than this one, but you can see here's the bearing that is in there, that pilot bearing. So I'm going to go try and see if I can tap that out of there without doing any damage to it. I don't think it's this, it might be actually. I'm going to go quickly look. I got a couple old clutch kits upstairs. I might have a new one of these. I'll check on that first. If not, we're going to go pop this out of here and we'll put that one in there. Up in the stash. Let's go see if first off that's new or not. And there you go. Look at that. I'll just grab the alignment tool while we're here. I think this whole diameter of this clutch is a different size. It's not the same as what would normally go on there. Actually, I'll bring the whole thing down. I'm pretty sure it's not the same size. If it is, we'll use it. Yeah, I thought one's at 180 and one's at 200. And what I'm talking about is a 1600 compared to the bus motors, actually. That throat's a different size though, huh? Yeah. Actually, it looks like the spline is different. Can't be different because that's a Beetle trans. I gotta think about this for a little bit. Possibly we can use it. I'm not sure. I thought the clutch clutch. It's a smaller clutch though. So that's the flywheel we're going to use. Well, that's the one for that. And that's the one for that. And that does not fit on there. This is the 1600, which still looks too small. Possibly it looks too small. And will that clutch bolt up? Nah, too small. So there's actually two different sizes for the big block motor. Let's go get the original one that was here. We got to go with the pieces that were on that. Let's go tap out what's left of the guts of this one. There we go. That one was wasted anyway. Spit all the balls out of it. And I'm just going to do a quick. Now the IDs. Nope, not going to fit. We're going to have to. Hopefully that one fits in there, or else I just screwed myself. And then I want to sandblast. Might tape this up and sandblast it. We got to get all the crap off of here. Like a big game of musical chairs. See if we can get this one out without damaging it. And hopefully that will fit. And it doesn't. Sucky suck. It stops us from putting stuff together now, doesn't it? I say. Operating difficulties. Please stand by. So we are going to need. Where's the original one that came out of there? I really don't feel like trying to machine that open. Alright, well, after much looking and deliberation, I actually ended up having to phone a friend. And we kind of figured it out together. So this is 914, Porsche 914. This is the rusty engine. This is the block and guts of the 914 engine. And this was a bus engine. Although the engines are similar, the externals and the transmissions are different. One's a 4-speed, one's a 5-speed, and they're kind of set up in different ways. That's why when we went to originally go do it, there's two different heights. The bell housing on 914 is deeper, and I think the pilot shaft is longer than what is on a put in a standard Beetle. So we need to use the original bus flywheel, but that's too small. What I went looking around at was what is in the center, like on a. So in there is like a greasy bushing that looks like it would catch the input shaft, but I would think it would want a roller bearing, not a bushing. And then when I look at the engine that came out of it, you could see there is a roller bearing inside that one. So the only thing I don't know is what is the depth of the pilot shaft coming out of the transmission, and will it make it all the way to here? We just have to support that shaft, from the transmission shaft from wobbling around. It just has to be able to make contact with that. So I'm going to go try tapping out the bushing that is on the other engine and see if we can get the new bearing I have and set that in there. Worst case, what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up that flywheel so that the bearing can pull back further. But if the input shaft makes it to there, I think we might be okay. I'm going to have to go put it in with a little bit of grease and just try a dry fit without even having a clutch on it, and just see how far we how far we protrude. No, what's the opposite of? Never mind. Let's give this a shot. It's got a little bit of a hook on it. It's a slide hammer. Hopefully there's a little bit of a lip there. Yeah. We can try and catch. Why does that feel like it's rubber? It's kind of bouncing like this. Okay, so that was what was in there. And let's go see if that new bearing will go in there. It's easy being me, don't you? Nothing like smashing a bearing. It's supposed to be perfectly fit. Yeah, so that will go in. I'm pretty sure. I don't want to tap it in yet. I'm going to go do some measurements and see how far the pilot shaft on the transmission gets in here. If we get out far enough we can grab it there, I think we're fine. If not, I'm going to actually have to take that flywheel and open that flywheel up a little bit so that some of this can protrude into the flywheel. But I need to go figure that out. And see if we can figure this out. See how far. All right, so we know it goes right to there. That's how far we're. That's our stick out. To the inside of that line. Let's go over to the engine and see what it looks like on that. The other thing is we have to take into account that lip, because that gets subtracted from it because the transmission bolts up against here, not here. So it's that flipped over, right? So where are we going to be? I got to figure out a way to measure that. I got to come up with a way to measure how much off of that we are from there. So we know it's going to be that plus the dimension there. That dimension is pretty much the notch. So if we went that's the depth of it, and then that much more to compensate for the lip there. So we put this up and we go flush with that. We have penetration of about, not great. It is in. It's in the amount. It's in the amount of that. And I'm not crazy about that. That's what she said. Sometimes you just got to do what you got to do. Wrong way. So I'm going to work on this for a little bit. I'm going to sneak up on it and hopefully have what we need. Never say die. So I got that in there. It's probably, I don't know, 70% in the flywheel, 30% in the crank end itself. There's a little bit of airspace I left behind. I'm not quite sure where it was going to line up. As long as we grab that and support it, I think we're good. I didn't want it a little too far forward. So I know we got it. New seal. There's an O-ring that goes around the back here. That's on there. A bit of oil on the main seal that is on there. Sandblasted it. Hit it with a sander to clean up some of the surface. I thought about, cutting on the while it was on the lathe, hitting the surface. But if you hit the clutch surface, you also have to hit the pressure plate surface and get the whole thing to drop in evenly at the same time. And that lathe is not bad if you're trying to go cut something in here, but it holding a tolerance out here, it would kind of ring. It's not very good for that, so I decided not to. I think we go put a clutch disc on it and I think shove that motor in its little happy home. So it's going to need a clutch. This is an alignment tool. You put that in there to make sure everything stays even with each other. It's going to need a clutch You can tell when you're putting it together how much preload and how much the fingers go in. The disc is fairly thin, and I do not have one, and it'll be a while before I get one. So I'm just going to keep moving forward. We should be able to drive it, just that either its longevity is not going to be there, or it's going to slip in fourth gear or be close to it. So I'm going to take a picture of the part number. I'll get one ordered. Fortunately, this motor is nice and easy to take in and out. It's pretty much about 15-20 minutes. It's probably the easiest engine there is in any car. Well, the smart thing would have been to do is back the car on so that the lift controls were on the same side that I was putting the engine in, so I could see what was going on as I was lowering it down. But I didn't do that. So we're going to wing it and hope we don't crush anything. That's too important. That's how it goes. What is nice compared to the lift I used at home, this lift goes straight up and down, where the scissor lift I had went on an angle. Let me know if you hear crunching. It's real close. I forgot to take the little 2x4 out of the front, and that's what's crunching through the plywood. So it's in gear so that the transmission shaft doesn't want to turn, but I want to turn the motor a little bit, and hopefully the splines will line up on the clutch and it'll pop in that last little bit. That's what I'm just trying to chase right now. Either that or I have a clutch issue where my components don't fit. It could also be a possibility. Doesn't that sound lovely? Normally you do it on a floor jack, and the floor jack allows you to pivot the engine around a little bit to get it. This is all the first time using this setup, so it's a learning curve. Why won't you go? It's right there. There she goes. Just went. Yeah, eyeball it if we're good. And get a couple of bolts in it. Yep. All right. Little 4 bolts are in, and I went and I adjusted the clutch underneath. Let's see what we get. I can use a little more, but it is working in the lower half of it. See that free play? That should be about that much, about a 1/2 inch or so, not 2 inches. So I gotta go a little bit more on that, but good enough to go check what we need to go check. I'm just a little concerned where all those components are going to match up with each other. So I think we could put a jumper pack on it. We should be able to crank it with the key up here, kind of listen for noise. We could put it in gear, and we could try to crank it in gear and see if it's got it, and then we push the clutch in, and if we can crank it and see if it's free. So that'll give us a good indication that we are either go or no go. The jumper pack's probably a little low from screwing with all the lights, but let's give it a shot. Let's go. Hopefully it sounds good and cranks like it should. Let's go get that hot lead off of there. That might be a good idea. And that hot lead is open. All right, let's see if she cranks. Sounds pretty good. I'm happy with that. Let's go hop inside and we'll try putting it in and out of gear. some room. I'm going in. All right. I have a block by the wheel. So let's go put it in first gear. I should want to crank forward. Figure out which way to work the key. Alright, good. Push the clutch in. And it's free. Awesome. That's a good preliminary. These pedals are weird, boy. They need to go that way a lot. I have to heat that clutch up and kind of bend it over a little bit. I got more to hook up, including the ground. But you should fire. Reach under the rug here a little. Find ourselves a good hot spot. How about the exhaust? Yeah, go right on the exhaust. So let's go give her a little bit of that. She takes off. Run for just a second. Hopefully thumb gear. That's a good sound. Good. I'm gonna go take some time and button some stuff up. I want to get the muffler on it, put a bunch of wiring. Got to wire to the choke, adjust the choke, and probably come up with a fuel source hanging off the side. I think we're getting there. Well, you know, I got a bunch of stuff I still have to do and parts to go get and stuff to build, but the exhaust is on it. We need a fuel pump. We don't have a throttle cable hooked up to it yet, and you know, tins and venting, all that kind of stuff needs to be taken care of yet. Got to get a battery that'll fit in the compartment. But then we can fire it up and hear what the exhaust sounds like. And start it from the key. That's my goal for the day. Gotta tweak the carb after it warms up and all. It's gonna run out in a minute. We'll let it idle. Sounds like a skipping a beat. Man, it's out of gas. It's not like a skip and a beat too. I gotta look into that. It's also old plug wires and all that kind of thing. We know it's got good compression on all 4 cylinders, though. I'm not that concerned about it. We'll get that figured out. I think actually when the first time I was running, it was kind of like spit once in a while, and now you can kind of hear it. Well, guys, that's as far as I want to get today. I say I got a bunch of other stuff to chase. I'm not sure how I'm going to go in the future with filming on it. I may button up a bunch of stuff, like put the console back together up the top, do the doors, put that stuff back together. Just chase a couple of things. Well, we still have brakes to go get, pull the wheels off, see what we have with that. The fuel tank's a mess. Like I said, fuel pump, get the throttle cable hooked up. A bunch of that stuff to go chase yet. And you know, it's far from being to the point where it's on the road. But I do want to get it to at least where it's yard drivable. All right, we'll go with that. And be able to put it around, drive it on the lift, pick away at things, and get it taken care of by springtime to have it ready. I'm not worried about paint or anything like that. Just all the good mechanicals up and running. And yeah, I was actually quite surprised by all the lights and everything working. So I won't have to chase as much as I thought I would. Got some stuff coming up. I don't know when we're gonna be back on this one, but I do have another series of videos of a car that I've been working on for 8 months that I just finished, except for the test ride when I'm waiting for rain to come to wash the roads, get some of the salt off, because it's a nice car. I do not want to get it all cruddy, but it's kind of ready to rock and roll. So I might jump over to that line of videos for a little bit, or back on this. I'm not quite sure which way it's going to go. It's behind the curtain right there. I've been hiding it from you for 8 months. None of you have seen it. All right, guys, with that, I'm going to go sign off. I want to thank y'all for hanging out with me. A little fun wrenching. And bring an old kit car back to life from 1977. Actually, the car's 69. And last on the road in 77. So with that, till then, I'll see you. Bye. All right, one more time. Gotta find out what one's missing. What I'm gonna do, one cylinder skipping a beat. So I'm gonna go around with a test light. I'm gonna probe down on each cylinder. I'm gonna ground out each one with a test light. I'm gonna find out which one doesn't make a difference, and I'll know what cylinder it is. All right, so you can find out who the culprit is. Number one, but I'm leaking a bunch of gas, so I definitely do not want to pull that plug wire off. This cylinder, oh my God, look at that thing. I put a tie wrap around it real quick. I thought I was going to seal it. Yeah, safety third, huh? So this cylinder is dead, which should be number one. Number two. Now, that might be an issue. Might need one of those. All right, change that plug wire out for another crappy used one. Let's see what we get. Nope. They ended up popping that plug out of that cylinder. I do not see. It's wet, not terribly foul, but possibly could be the problem. While it's out, I'm going to do a double check compression. Possibly the valves seated and may have closed up. May have to reset them or another issue. Come on. So let's go do a compression test. I'll tell you what. I'll crank it over. Persistence. That's more than fine, so that's not the issue. I'm gonna try to run another plug in there and see if it goes away. See that, or we got an intake leak. So it's not running because it doesn't have compression. So I'm gonna go throw another plug in there, just for shits and giggles. Another used one out of that other motor. Let's see what we get. Yeah, let's go hook the coil back up. I refueled it. It's the white wire. Where'd it go? There it is. I refueled it. Let's fire it up. Different plug in it. See if that skip goes away.
was it. Bad plug. Now it's on all four. Smooth too. Nice and steady. Watch the gas. That's how much gas it uses. Alright, awesome. Running out of gas now. Yeah, there it goes. You hear the idle come up, and I mean it's running lean at the last couple seconds. Nice, we got it. Purrs like a kitten. All right, all right.